9:30 on the 12th of June. Let's get started. First things first, risk disclaimer. We know there's risk in trading. You know the deal. Okay. Don't trade with money you can't afford to lose. Whether trading stocks, options, futures, forex, cryptos, you know the deal. Social media, Mondays and Fridays. I'm not sure if I'm going to run a bonus session Wednesday afternoon for FOMC. The Fed has a rate decision on the 14th. We have big CPI data tomorrow to see if the year over year is still improving. So there's a big news week, and then ECB, the euro for rate decision and press conference on Thursday. Looks like the euro is going to raise rates by 25 basis points. The Fed is expected to pause. Let's get into the charts, take a look at everything. We got a slight gap higher on the SPY. We have a slight gap higher with some overextended conditions. Ooh, baby, this thing is primed. So hopefully price action cooperates this week. We should see some inefficiencies and gaps getting filled. If it's not this week with all the news, it certainly looks like it could be next week in the near term. Look, if there's buyers, I'm hoping that the buyers are more interested at a lower price instead of just melting up. It feels, I feel bad they got to chase this thing, so I'm not. I'm actually short the 350 by 351 bear call spread. We did a 425 by 426 bear call spread in the SPY. I'm also short on NVIDIA with a 395 by 400. We're trading at 391. So if we have some gap fills this week with price action, whether it's CPI or the Fed, we should have some good short-term profits. Let's go to the Fed Watch tool, the CME group. High probability that they're going to pause this week. See what it says. It was like 74% last week. And still waiting. Okay. Guess we're not showing the chart this time. Oh, I didn't realize there's more stuff to this website. There we go. Okay, same as last week. Okay. 75% probability that the Fed does nothing. Pauses. Keeps the rate 5 to 5.25. July showing. Switch over to July. Something's up to the website. Okay, so we'll check this during the week, during the trading rooms, but Wednesday afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, FOMC rate decision. From what we checked last week, possible rate hike coming in July. We'll see if the language on Wednesday's press conference of this week will kind of hint towards that. If we go to the calendar this week, CPI data is tomorrow morning pre-market. So it'll be 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Here you go. So year over year expected to be 4.1. We saw this at 4.2 last week. If the deflationary pressures continue, that's a good sign. If we print sub 4 or even 4.1, that's a pretty good print. That's a pretty nice bite out of the year over year inflation. A lot of things are coming down. You know, houses have come down quite a bit. We've got unemployment rates going up, and job cuts are still happening. We have a softening in consumer demand right now, and fertilizer prices coming down, food prices coming down. Oil is probably pretty stable in the $60 to $65 support zone. It's hanging out in the low 70s, but other commodities, prices have come down quite a bit from the, COVID crash highs and whatnot. But that news will be important to watch, and then what the Fed's message is on Wednesday will be important. That's 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's go to, Wednesday. 5.25 is expected to pause. That's the same. And then Thursday, the ECB rate starts at 8:15 a.m. and the press conference at 8:30. That's different. Usually they do a 7:45, but I mean that's fine. That means that the euro's likely to be more volatile during the 8 to 8:30 or 8 to 9 o'clock window, and we'll look for some euro trading there. But 25 basis points expected out of the ECB. It looks like the European Bank, the Bank of England, are likely going to pause. Last week, the CAD raised rates. If anyone was paying attention to that on Wednesday, they raised rates by 25 basis points. The RBA, Reserve Bank of Australia, raised rates as well. So here's where we have some of those majors. Let's go cbrates.com. So we have Australia sitting at 4.1, Canada sitting at 4.75, both with recent hikes. The Eurozone at 3.75, likely to be at 4 by the end of this week. Great British Pound or the UK, that's at 4.5 with a rate hike back in May. Likely they're going to raise rates another 25 to 50 basis points. The US at 5.25. Pausing this week, but it's We'll watch the CME watch tool. It's forecasted that the Fed's going to raise one more time. Switzerland, I believe, at the near the end of June, maybe in the 16th. No, that's this week. 20 something. Maybe it's usually on Thursdays. Maybe the 22nd. If Swiss National Bank raises rates, we'll see if they jump up 25 or 50 basis points. We looked at their inflation last week. They're sitting around like low twos. So maybe their goal is to raise rates enough to get it above the current inflation reading. So maybe they need to get up to 2% or 2.5% and keep that kind of restrictive neutral territory where, central bank rates are at least outpacing inflation readings. New Zealand at 5.5. We'll see if they stay there. Last time they raised rates was May 24th. So that covers kind of the major central banks. Let's go to our charts. Go back to the SPY. Weekly pivot, big pocket, big gap. Gap fills around 422. Previous lows around 424. I would set some chart alarms. You can see these lines I have in my charts. Setting some chart alarms to see if this week's volatility taps those lows. I will likely be managing some short-term option trades in those levels. So if we hit 424, hit 422, I'm probably going to take some profit. And whether that's Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll see how it plays out. QQQ, same thing. I'm short at the 350 handle. 350 handle. So we closed last week around 354. We're sitting at 356 right now, just hanging out at the highs. Yellow boxes here represent pocket inefficiencies and candle inefficiencies, as well as a big gap pocket from NVIDIA. And again, see if the pockets are going to get filled this week. Interested to see how price action plays out today. Still a lot of restrictions and resistance around 430 on the SPY, 431 on the SPY. And we'll see if price ends up giving us a little bit of a push in the afternoon. But there's so much data, it might be light on the short-term trading today. So if you're writing down some big levels, 434 on the SPY. And what is this one here? 434 to the upside and 425 to the downside. And then on the Qs, upside potential at 359 to 360 and downside at 350. So kind of stuck in the middle, but resistance again, equal highs around 356 to 357. We can see that on the chart. We go to dollar index. Dollar index here. By the way, let me just log into YouTube, say hi to everybody. All right. A lot of people tuning in. Morning FK, good morning Ranjit. David, good morning. Ann, good morning. Donna, good morning. Ruth Ann, Gail. Giza, Catherine, good morning. Jake, good morning. Jason, howdy. Denise, good morning. Nice to see everybody. All right. Happy Monday, everybody. Okay, dollar index. I'm going to set a chart alarm here at the 104.73 level, see if the dollar gets some bid this week, if it stays a little bit stronger. Fresh highs on the dollar index. If we get it, I will be watching that. I still look at the dollar index as a potential pullback and run in the near term. I think longer term, if you go later out into next year or late this year into next year, I think the dollar is going to be weaker. So I wouldn't be surprised if the dollar trades under 100 later in the year. But I think we hit the 105, 106 level, possibly up into this high around 107, 108. But I will be looking for, longer term dollar weakness. It's funny how we're not even talking about that debt ceiling anymore, huh? Oil. What? Let's see. Energy sectors decline pre-market Monday. Yeah. Why? That's weird. Okay. I thought after little OPEC speaking up that oil would be pretty stable around $70, but it is not at this time. So let me see if I can get some readings on oil. Bank of England, further increases in interest rates cannot be ruled out. Yep, we know that. Market move. Let's go U.S. oil. Let's see here. Oil prices skyrocket. March 10th. Yeah, way to be topical. What the heck? All this news is from March. Financial Juice, what's up? There we go. $2 fall in oil prices, stock futures. There we go. So oil drops 3.1%, lowest closing price since March 2020, or March 20th, sorry. Sell large volumes. I know this Strategic Petroleum Reserve has been, getting pushed back out. There's probably more production coming to the U.S. side, despite what OPEC's saying, cutting, a million plus a day. U.S. oil slides back to below 70. Fed's decision. I mean, it's a lot of supply and demand. Again, technically, I still see a lot of support here, 65 to 62.50. A lot of support. So it will be interesting, right? If we just come back down and tap this low and then work our way right back up. We did have an intermediate high right here around 74.75. So, we haven't seen $80 price in a while. That was that little spike up there with big. That was OPEC news, right? We've had OPEC news there. We had OPEC news recently in here as well. So anyway, that's oil. It's down. Take a look at gold and silver and other commodities. Let's go to copper really quickly. Our other copper or other commodities dropping. Copper's hanging in there 3.74. Gold and silver. Gold and silver likely this week is going to be dependent on the dollar. If dollar weakness prevails, then gold shoots up. Dollar strength prevails. Gold drops down. So off of this high in structure, I could see a nice little top forming gold, high to low, consolidation, pushing lower. So again, wouldn't be surprised if we hit, 1850 to 1830 on gold, but I think longer term gold bulls will be able to pick up some, 1840 levels and possibly, 1700 levels and then just stay longer term. But this is a lot to do with the correlation of the dollar. Silver's trading at 24. If I zoom out, I still like silver up to 29 and $30. This could be a channel that we monitor closely. If it falls into this area here, that's around 22 bucks. $22 looking for a buy there. If it falls any lower, then I'm just looking left. Buy there. Okay, it's gold and silver. Bitcoin's at 25,801. Like I said last week, just make sure you understand that Coinbase is not Bitcoin. Okay, the SEC probe on Coinbase, the SEC probing and suing Binance. Bitcoin's at least holding its own at 25.8. There's not a ton of downward movement, although that 30K to 31K resistance is pretty obvious. Don't be surprised if we see just like a slow unwinding, back into some efficiencies. There's pockets here, breakout levels right around that 20K mark. So it could just be a slow grind to the downside, and then we'll see if the buyers pick it back up. Okay, that's a little Bitcoin action. Any stocks, any charts you'd like me to take a look at? I know this week I'm probably interested, and we'll talk about this in the next 15 minutes. This is one stock I'm interested in trading. We did a straddle on this one out to December. If it's above 130 or below 110, we're going to make some money on this straddle. We might just look at some straight up credit spreads. I think this little breakout is pretty telling. So maybe getting a couple of trades in here. If it comes back down into this area, there's good structure. I'll certainly revisit, some other credit spreads. So let's say I took 2 here, and then I take another 2 here, and I'd be willing to take probably 3 to 4 down here. I just think longer term, this is a really nice head and shoulders pattern. And once we end up getting back to this neckline or beyond, it's gone, So I don't really want to miss the upside. I want to get involved with that kind of accumulation phase. And, am I going after 354 on this stock? Not necessarily. But if I just measure this move here to symmetry, that still puts us up towards the yearly pivot, which is over 200 bucks. So if I'm in here at, 134, 135 or back around the 130 handle, I'm good with all those levels on Baidu. And then Alibaba, same thing. Good structure overall. And this one, if we have a bit of a wedge here, it's not necessarily ready technically, but because of this high here, again, nice structure for a accumulation zone. Start looking for some trades to the upside. I'm going to start positioning for that. We could probably do a 90 by 85, collect a decent amount. If we're limited to the downside, we don't take any assignment, and all of a sudden we start getting some breaks. We can start looking at longer calls later once the timing starts to take off. We get some of that, that price action in our favor. So we could do some long call options. But Still, I like Alibaba and I like Baidu. KWeb is another one we've traded on and off for the last couple of years in equities on demand. Kind of the same structure here. We can delete all this stuff. We made some profits on that. Potential crown pattern. This level, left shoulder. Okay, this is also big tech China. I mean, a 30 by 29 could do the trick. We have a lot of income that rolls in if this thing heads higher towards 37. We might even consider, timing wise, and we probably have to go out 45 to 60 days. But if we are getting a run here or something through, I mean, I don't love getting super aggressive on long call options during summer trading, but certainly credit spreads with time on our side could work. Where a 30 by 29, and then price runs to 30 plus. But I would take it back to here. I think this is good structure where we go back to 40 some dollars a share. So if we come all the way back down here, super interested, loading up call options, probably some stock as well with some protection to the downside. But there's 3 instruments we'll talk about today in class in the trading room. Okay. Let's see here. Any other requests? I'm trying to think. We have a lot of expirations. We managed quite a few discussing last week. Some have already been managed. Some were from Q4 that we kind of rolled out into later this year. But it's now June. We're at the halfway point, essentially. So if I go to 6/16 expiration, Q's, couple of expirations there, NVIDIA expiration there. Stocks have been doing pretty well. Just the resurgence of Tesla recently. Tesla trading at 246. We could have some gap filling, but that was a really nice trade. The good part about Tesla is rather than chasing a very expensive stock, we can trade something like Ford. Ford's up off the lows from $11 and change. Ford's nicely off those lows by about 22%. You go to something like GM. GM also off the lows, right? Off the lows recently around 13 to 14%. Honda Motors. Honda, I'm really disappointed that we didn't get better fills off this low to current prices up 42%. Son of a gun. I really wanted those trades. We had some Honda Motors back in here. Made some nice profit, tried to get reestablished, repositioned, and just didn't get filled. Premiums were a little bad. Trying to do a 250 spread, looking for $1.25 or $1.30, couldn't get it. But it is what it is. I still think there's good upside potential. I mean, 30 to 40 bucks isn't bad. So if this is the low, this is the retest, this is accumulation, we're looking to see if we can get back up to 41 bucks. So I don't mind this one. I just don't like the current price. But if we were willing to take some assignment, doing a 32.50 by 30, we can generate some income there. If it pulls back, maybe take some assignment, work the cost basis down. I think the only drawback with doing some ownership is I believe Honda Motors is only, I think it's only monthly expirations. So it'd be a little bit rougher to, lower the cost basis routinely. You'd have to be waiting every month. But I think that price-wise, we've got a pretty good runway towards 40 bucks. Okay. All right. So a couple things looking pretty good. And I'm watching some interim levels on the Qs. I said 360 to the upside, 350 to the downside. We're trading at 355, 356 right now. It's right in the middle. I think today's going to be a day that not much happens. It's going to be difficult to be heavily positioned. Today, there's probably going to be some light volume, but tomorrow at 8:30, if you're coming into the Flex trading room tomorrow morning, we're going to get a lot of pre-market movement. We've seen that before with CPI. Like I said, 4.1 is expected for this week. That's last week. Tuesday numbers. So 4.1 is expected this year over year. That's the number I'm paying attention to. Let me see if I can find this right here. Trueflation dashboard. Let's see if this will show it. Let's see. 11 months ago. I want like now, man. Overview, Trueflation index, calculation, weights, data revision. Am I just like not getting everything to load up or what? This is so weird. Data weights, calculation weights, data revisions. Okay, this looks a little bit better. Food, non-alcoholic beverage, housing, transportation, utilities. Okay. 12 main categories. Again, remember core CPI excludes food, excludes energy. Truflation from 6 categories to 12 categories. So they kind of do like a bigger breakdown. So this is kind of interesting to see where things are moving and shaking. Data revisions, historical average. I'm looking for, let's see, data settlement. Is there anything here? This is from the Fed website. All urban consumers, all items, less food and energy. So that's your core. Anyway, I was just looking for like a nice purchasing power. Yeah, I've seen pros and cons on that too. Like that's kind of misleading to show it based on inflation. But anyway, whatever. I won't digress. I already did. All right, 431 in the SPY. All right, let's take a look at some currencies. Let's do a quick run. We got a few minutes. Aussie CAD like long. We're starting to get some cooperation on this one. Aussie Swiss, same thing. Aussie Swiss moving higher. Currency strength for today. Survey says Swiss is weakest. Booyah. Dollar's getting up there. Aussie strong. Swiss weak is good for me. I like that a lot. So let's see if that runs for the day. Aussie Swiss is one of our bigger positions from these equal lows, and we've been kind of scaling in with these oversold conditions. Aussie yen stretching to new highs. Aussie New Zealand. We're going to look to see if this one wants to turn. This could be a really good summer range to trade from lows to highs. So if we get a rejection and some nice alignments here with something like Master Flex, then we'll sell high, stop loss above, try to take it back down. Aussie dollar. This one's still kind of stuck in the middle. A lot of chop on this one. We'll see what it does. High to low, we pull back here. Maybe it sells off one more time, finds a deeper low. But from there, again, dollar index, I'm looking for weakness later on. So if we see a little run in the near term on the dollar, maybe this comes back to revisit. Could be channel lows, but longer term, like I need a better price. Period. I'm not buying the Aussie dollar at this price. If it comes down to 6,100 or 6,000, way more interested in buying it. CAD Swiss. Hopefully we can poke these highs at 68.20 and head higher. CAD yen still going higher. Swiss yen chop suey, but we'll see if we can break this 150, run 150, 250 low. Euro Aussie, Aussie's been pretty firm the last couple of weeks. Euro Aussie's been dropping. Euro CAD also been dropping as our CAD Swiss is up. We were playing one of those. Euro Swiss nicely moving off the lows. Euro Pound pulling back a little bit. Euro Yen, Swiss Yen, stay out of those. Euro New Zealand waiting. I don't remember if we took we had a sell trade running here on Euro New Zealand. I didn't sell it a second time. I was looking to see if we maybe came up and there's a big news pocket right here that we're kind of chewing into, but I don't know. I'd stay out of this one for right now. If you are short, stop loss above is fair to see if we head lower. But this one's kind of tricky. There's a lot of volatility. We were long here, we were short here, and then right now not positioned on Euro New Zealand. If we had a double top, I'd look to sell that or equal high resistance. I'd sell it, but otherwise I'd wait. Euro dollar, we went ahead and took some profit. So we sold this at, we actually were long on this initial breakout. We just couldn't break these highs. We tightened up our stop loss towards 109. I reversed it at 108.55, took it down to 107. And I'm out right now. I'm just waiting to see how this plays out. I think that another push to the downside looks pretty good with euro dollar. If we pull back into kind of the big 5.0 to 618 window, I would look to accumulate some dollar weakness. So euro dollar long looks pretty good in there. But I think that even this week, if we tap this monthly pivot, we could be heading lower to finish the week. Again, that's looking for DXY strength. Pound crosses. Pound Aussie dropping. I'm not sure if we got filled on that pullback though. Pound CAD, we got filled on a pullback. We're trying to sell this. Pound Swiss, we're long. Pound Yen, we're waiting. Pound New Zealand, nothing. I'm looking to see if this will actually, maybe this just consolidates more and it gets pretty choppy up here. But I'm looking for this to head lower and fill some of that pocket. There's also a big harmonic pattern towards 2.0. Pound dollar, stay out of this one for now. New Zealand CAD. I'm actually getting position long in New Zealand CAD. New Zealand Swiss, getting position long in this one. I've been long on this for a while. Just enjoying some positive swap. Put a little bit more love into this, and hopefully this one wants to break some highs. New Zealand Yen, stay out of that one for now. New Zealand Dollar, staying out of that one for now. Dollar CAD. We'll see if we can come. Oof, it's right there, 3,300 to 3,200. Pretty interested. Looking for some buy levels. I think that dollar CAD is poised for that move right there. So equal lows. I think dollar CAD long looks good this week. We could probably tighten that up with a stop loss as well. We actually might talk about that. I mean, I kind of like that trade now. So if I took the trade now, I might be trade 1, and then if we get a trade 2, stop loss down here, and I'm going to go after weekly pivot and this nice little pocket. So that's not a bad position. It's not a huge reward to risk, but I should favor, if I get filled on both of these and I'm correct, then it definitely favors a positive reward to risk to the upside. So that's not a bad looking play there. Dollar Swiss, if we can break these highs, I'm long dollar Swiss and have been for a while. Dollar yen chop, but we took our profits from 136 up to 140. And dollar Sing, 34.40, looking to see if we can break these recent highs. My chart alarm expires, so I'll put another one in here. And then go to highs. Highs. Okay, morning Mark, morning James. Any questions? So we just ran through currencies, ran through the dollar, oil, gold, silver, copper, stock market index, ETF, SPY, Qs. We'll talk about Baidu and Baba in class today. Volatility index is down to some fresh lows. We'll probably have this thing jump back up towards 16 to 18 this week. Overall sentiment, we've kind of turned the tide to now more bullish. You look at your big stocks, right? Apple's up, retesting these highs. You look at Microsoft, Meta, just like all mega cap tech, right off these levels. So again, this is where I think the catch-up trade plays out. We are getting overbought on Microsoft. I could see Microsoft hitting these highs at 340 to 350, but from there, probably pausing. Maybe not a big drop, but pausing. But that gives other tech, hopefully, and again, not crap tech, not unicorn tech. I'm talking tech that makes money, tech that doesn't have a lot of debt. I think that tech is where the catch-up is. Okay, and honestly, it's probably going to be the trigger word this year is going to be AI. If anybody's talking about earnings calls, transcriptions, AI, the future, AI. It's right now. It's like that's the sexiest thing in trading. So there's room to run. Microsoft, Google had a good run as well. We're still well off the highs on Google. If we get some dips and pullbacks, this one actually looks a little bit better. Gap in here, pull back to the pivots, pull back to a breakout point, and see if we get some retests. We'll find out. So, all right. Any questions? Thanks, FK. Thanks, David. Thanks, Denise. All good. All right. If you do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button before we go and support the channel. I'll be back on Friday. Tentatively, trying to think. If I ran a session Wednesday, let me just think about it. I know I've got stuff going on at the office, but if I can run a session, you'll see it go live if you're subscribed to the channel with the notification bell, and I go live at 2 p.m. Wednesday, then come and join me. If not, we'll wrap things up on Friday with a weekly recap of the Pulver report. Okay. All right, good stuff. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Ann. Nice to see everybody today, and let's have a good week in the trading rooms. Okay. See you. Bye.